working with the team, I had to make sure that everybody I was working with, because I wasn't doing the printing per se on all the stuff, so I had to make sure that they knew what was what. And some stuff got mixed up and stuff like that and messed up a little bit. Colors ended up being wrong.
You know what that is?
What?
Growing pains.
No question. That's what this is all about. You guys are watching Build a Brand on T-Shirt Side Hustle, and I'm your host, Stan Banks, and I'm here with
Tamika
and
Heather,
and they are
Drunk Aunties.
the Drunk Aunties.
The
Come on,
Drunk
get it
Aunties.
together. We sounded great on the last one. Now we rehearsed. We ain't really rehearsing. Now we rehearsing.
listen,
It's all good. So
Aunties.
in the last episode, we just kind of clarified just a lot of stuff that was going on, and we just talked about just a ton of stuff. In this episode, we want to go ahead and talk about kind of like the growing pains of just making a transition into being branded and having some organization together, getting yourself organized and all of that stuff. So the first thing we did is we started out, you guys came, you laid me straight, you know what I'm saying? You voiced your opinions and different things like that. And then we put that behind us and we got to work. We did a lot of work. And for the people out there who don't know, I'm big on organization at these points. I don't know how it came about, but like I believe everybody needs a notebook and needs to be all mapped out what you want because you can actually attain some goals. So I want to know, how was your experience with like getting organized? It's always a work in progress, but how was you guys' experience with the first parts of getting organized and like, yo, you need a book. You need the book. That's not the right book. But overall, tell me how your experience was with the start of organizing your hustle.
So I'll start because the people don't know that one half of the Drunk Aunties is already on Stan's level of organization.
Okay.
So
I didn't see it, but come on, let's go. Keep going.
So it's different from your, but it's the same
idea,
push
concept.
behind it.
Yeah.
Yes. So where you wanted it,
That would be you, or that would be
absolutely not.
Oh. So you talking about her? Okay,
I'm starting by saying I am the minority here. Please send help.
That's a nice shirt right there. Like this.
So where it's different from yours, there was still some sort of organization. It just wasn't what you.
Definitely.
But there was a system.
Right.
It just wasn't your system. So we just had to adjust and roll the two together. Yes. So there was some already organization to start with.
Yeah, gotcha. So has the difference made a difference? I guess since you're the organized one.
So yes, but I mean we're still pivoting over. To be quite honest,
it's always growing.
Right, it's always growing. So we had some, like Heather said, we had some organization as to what we were laying out, how we were kind of, not to your level of having the book and the reading, all that stuff behind it. Yeah. But we were keeping track. We had a book that was of like our ideas and organized and designs, and we had it laid out of, the outline, right? Like a basic outline, but it wasn't to the extent of what yours were. So it was just a little shift over in how we organized. That was it.
So one of the things I think you guys did really well coming into is that you had a website and it was kind of just, it was clean, but we could clean it up because there was a mixture of mock-ups and then nice photos and different things like that. So we went in and we talked about some of that stuff. Again, we got rid of the old logo with the random two women. But it was, just one of the things that I thought you guys did really, really well. So we didn't spend too much time on that. I think there is some things that we have to do now, like adding men's and women's shirts, which I think can give your audience an option if they like fit it, if they don't. Kind of just because of the way that we're producing these shirts.
Right.
The flexibility may add sales to someone and give them something that's more comfortable. But outside of that, I think you guys did the website piece really well. A lot of people don't come in with a good website or a website at all, which is super awesome. So the next piece that we did is you walked in here and I don't know where it came from. I know in the last episode y'all talked about how y'all took like 50 or 100 pieces to the printer. He's like, what's going on? And I had the same exact, like, it was bag upon bag. The bags was ripping and falling apart. And it was a lot of stuff.
So first of all, the bags didn't start ripping and falling apart until after there was a lot of movement with them.
Yeah, I bet. You know, because you got to pick them up and move these big bags. But, you know, you had a ton of stuff. There was no counts. We had to kind of like count it as we went, and after the fact, we didn't kind of have worksheets. So, and on my side, where I had to figure out how to work this organizational pieces, working with the team, I had to make sure that everybody I was working with, because I wasn't doing the printing per se on all the stuff, so I had to make sure that they knew what was what. And some stuff got mixed up and stuff like that and messed up a little bit. Colors ended up being wrong.
You know what that is?
What?
Growing pains.
No question. That's what this is all about. You know what I'm saying? I think yeah, it was growing pains. We had to kind of like dial in the communication and make sure that it wasn't like to say, don't talk to this person, don't do this, but we had to kind of like implement a protocol of everybody. So that everybody knew, and then it would be disseminated down, because it was just a lot of confusion because I wasn't physically here, or Sierra wasn't physically here. So that's something that I'm going through still to this day, just trying to get organized in business for you guys printing out here. Not necessarily the brands, but whenever you build your team out and you do things, you got to just try to figure out what your SOPs are, or basically the flow of how things go. And so like having counts when customers come in with their products, having photos and like just descriptions or a job sheet for what color gets what color print and what location. And, you know, the more specific you can be, the less errors that can happen. We had a ton of errors in the midst of this. I wouldn't say a ton, but it was some, right?
It was a handful.
And then even like correlation between the website and then how we name the products or the actual sheets, and just different things like that. So we had to kind of like clean it up a little bit, because they got like, what was it? What's that? Gang gang.
Oh my god.
The shirt was Auntie gang, but it comes in as saying gang gang. So we like, you know,
the only shirt that got gang on it.
That's your products, but when it comes to organization and working with different people, we don't see those things off the bat. So we had to just clean a lot of that stuff up. Now what I'm pushing for, which is still a work in progress, is just proper planning of releases. Right? So the stuff gets dropped off, and then it's like, well, we need these with this print by this date for the photo shoot. We don't need everything, but we need it for 2 days from now. But we want puff print, and we ain't never even talked about puff print. Or we had some puff print, and then we didn't have enough. It was like just a lot of stuff that was going on, and we just got to get that piece organized. So what I asked you girls to do was to get a plan of like, okay, this is coming out in this month. You're doing 2 releases a month, which it's not a lot to manage. Right. But we just need to get it ahead of time. But then you got to think about when your photo shoot is, you know, because we can make anything in vinyl, but it's not going to give you the final look. So how do you think you ladies will handle that?
Strategically.
Back to the notebook.
Planning properly.
Yeah, no question.
We will plan properly.
And then we had some products where we had to test and do some embroidery and figure out all of that stuff. This episode's first featured product is Top Transfers. Top Transfers is my premier go-to for one-color prints when it comes to using my print method, the real POD, the best POD. That's press on demand. Forget that old print on demand stuff. If you want to control your quality of garments, you have to be using the method POD. That's press on demand. And Top Transfers is my go-to places when it comes to fulfilling orders for any brand with one-color prints. As you guys see here, you guys can visit Top, that's TOPP.tshirtsizers.com. I also have a link down in the description below. That is the way of supporting the channel at no extra cost to you. Now, back to the Drunk Aunties. If you guys out there are watching this, I want to know if you're organized and what do you do to stay organized. I'm working on a course, shameless plug, called Organize Your Hustle. It probably will be out by the time that this comes out. It'll be linked down in the description with all the information, not going into too much details, but my first featured product is my own product today. And that's something that I'm working hard for. So you guys can go down there and sign up if you're watching this when this is coming out. If you watch it later on down the road, there will be a pre-recorded course so that you guys can watch it and follow at your own pace. Probably about 6 segments. It may grow later on, we may modify it, but overall, it's just about taking your hustle and organize it so that you can actually have a business and you can see money and you can understand where the money's going. A lot of stuff that entrepreneurs run into is like, I'm making money, I know I'm making money, but where is it all at, you know? And not being organized is the culprit. So let me know down in the comments if you're organized, how you stay organized, what programs and softwares you use to do that stuff, because we can all learn from each other. So going into the next segment, it is kind of the branded launch happened in October.
Correct.
October, yeah.
All right, so we had a good, what date was that? I can't remember.
From what, the first,
Kinda like the
October.
End of August to October.
Okay, so
about a solid 2 months.
right, we had a good 2 months to wrap up the year, November and December pretty much. And let's talk about the products that you ladies released.
So we released the sets. So we released these, like these lounge sets, so like a tights and sweatshirt. And then also the sweatsuits, so the jogger sets, which also featured the hoodie, joggers, and just like a sweatshirt. Jogger and
the loungewear sets.
and then one more loungewear set.
And then y'all had some statements.
Right, and some statements.
We kind of organized and cleaned up the statements. So you guys know, man, when I talk on this channel, it's not necessarily, you know, I keep telling you guys, you just got to do something. What you do doesn't matter. I can have my opinion on what you could do. You can have your opinion. We could both be right. We could both be wrong. But ultimately, through trial and error, you'll figure this thing out, right? So I said that to say, you know, I was halfway wrong, right? And because I felt, you know, that the thing that would bring their audience together would be the statements, right? And the more statements per se that you have that people could relate to will give them a chance to get in the door. But they dropped these sets, and half of them, since I'm halfway wrong, did really, really well. And this could be come to the timing and everything like that, right? So which ones did really well for you?
So what did really well was our quick trip sets. So that is the longer, like the A-line sweater and what I'm wearing today, and then the tights. Okay. So that one did extremely well. In all sizes, as what hooded?
The hooded sweatsuits.
The hooded sweatsuits did pretty well, and then the lounge did pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something that, like, timing wise, you know, I feel like the lighter t-shirt versions of which I had probably would have did better, or probably will do better in the spring. You know, but it's October, November. It's getting into those colder months, especially right now. So it's kind of like the heavyweight stuff did really, really well. And what?
Not necessarily, because I honestly feel like it's colors. Because we had the one set that was still the lighter material. The blue didn't move, but the purple is, we probably have 2 left.
Right.
Yeah.
So I honestly feel like it's just about the colors, because, you know, women can layer.
Yeah, yep.
So we'll wear the tights and the tights and the long sleeve t-shirt with a pair of boots and a long shirt and a sweater, or a cardigan and a coat.
Yeah.
So it's just about being able to layer it.
Right.
So we can do these outfits that we have pretty much year round.
Gotcha.
It's just, I think it really was about more the colors.
What did you take from what she just said?
I agree. I mean, because like she said, that one set that we had, that was a blue one, and the purple one moved like crazy.
Gone.
But the blue one, it was just a preference of the color. Like the blue one is still a good few of those ones. As far like the same thing with the sweatsuits. Like we had at least like 5, I think, color different sweatsuits, and out of those 5, 2 of the colors moved like crazy.
Right.
Like 2 of the colors moved like crazy. The other ones, even though they're still sweatsuits, they're lighter colors. They're like the pastel colors, which, you know, in the wintertime, it's like,
a little different.
Yeah.
Another thing we noticed was the hooded moved more than the sweatshirt.
This episode's second featured product is Super Color. That is my go-to for any full color print methods when it comes to using POD, that's press on demand, the #1 way to fulfill your orders and also have quality control. You guys can visit supercolor.tshirtscience.com. That's my affiliate link to let them know that I sent you, and that's your way of supporting the channel at no extra cost to you. Now, back to the Drunk Aunties.
Yeah.
So now I have a question. What could you do, just based off what you just talked about, what could you do better in the future to have more successful releases before you drop something, what could you do?
Gauge the audience.
How?
Ask them other colors. So
By
maybe let them vote on the colors.
Yeah, gauge the audience through the content, which we trickled into, but we didn't do it as
Y'all just ordered everything. Y'all kind of like pick which one y'all wanted to release when. Just keep it real. Y'all came in here with like 12 bags.
We gauged a tag.
No, I got you.
For the color. We did what we wanted to do.
No question.
We did pick things that we were like.
Did a very, very, very good job. But I think the learning piece of this whole thing is just understanding your audience.
Right,
and
exactly.
This is all information that you can use down in the future. You know, if these colors didn't move, why didn't they move? Is it the timing of the year? Is it the colors of the season? Is it the weather? Or just like should we not talk about this one right now and talk about it in the spring and see what happens if the colors are brightening up or different things like that. So I think that is a huge piece of just understanding your audience, paying attention to trends, and then going deeper into like the analytics of your products and what's selling and how it's moving. So you can pay attention to what you need to reorder, what you don't need to reorder, and all of that stuff. So that was a kind of like a great piece of information that I think people, and I'll let you guys kind of like sift it out, and I just wanted to bring some clarity around what I was taking away from it without going too deep. All right, so I was wrong about that. The statement shirts are doing okay. They kind of steady.
Oh yeah,
they kind of steady. The sweatsuits had an order or two in there and stuff like that. So they're doing what they're supposed to do as well.
I think anybody would want to wear our name.
Yeah, I mean. That comes from, like, a lot of people start brands.
But it's not Heather and Tamika.
I don't disagree. Well, we got rid of the people first and foremost, so it might have, you know what I'm saying? It might be that piece, right? We got rid of the fake Heather and the fake Tamika.
Wow. That was not even a thought.
It was a symbolism of us.
But let's make a real one.
Yeah, whatever.
So, where was I going now? But it was very, very good. So I want to know for you guys out there, who's paying attention to the analytics, right? Who's paying attention and what information are you gathering from this stuff? And are you really looking at it? Some people don't even pay attention to anything that's going on. They just like, I'm gonna put this out. If it sells, it sells. If it don't, it don't. But if you want to really grow, if you want to be successful, if you want to hit your goals, first you got to have the goals.
Right.
But then secondly, you got to just pay attention to the trends and what your audience wants. You got to send out gauges. You got to poll people. You got to say, hey, which color would y'all prefer before you actually place the order, and then just don't give them what, you know what I mean? Like you got to kind of do this stuff ahead of time a little bit, and it'll help you ultimately.
Right here. You keep shooting me right here.
Oh man. I know that feeling.
Exactly.
I don't want to do that. But nah. So, I think, that's a good note to end this episode on. So when it comes to organization, any advice that you guys would give people out here when it comes to organization, is there any advice that you would give people out here?
To stay on top of it. I would definitely say it's easier to start out organized, start out with a plan, and set things in motion and stay on top of it, because it's hard to try to review everything when it's already done, when it's already laid out in front of you, and now it's kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say to stay on top of your organization and really just make sure that you organize.
I definitely agree, because one thing about organization is, even if you don't keep up with it, if you do that initial planning and you put it all in front of you, when you get off track of what you're doing and you come back to your notes, you can be like, wait, I ain't supposed to be doing that. I should be doing these things. And it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. You can go whichever direction you feel, but you always have a plan. And I found myself getting off track with t-shirt sizes sometimes, and idea or some opportunity would pop up, and then I would really think about that idea, like, wait, is this going to get me closer to what I'm supposed to be doing?
Exactly.
And I'm a little bit off track. Let me reel myself back in. Or sometimes I say, you know what? I'm going to see where this takes me, but you have that option and you're not flying by the seat of your pants. So listen, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Drunk Aunties on Build a Brand, and you learned something. Let me know what you learned down in the comments. This is me, your boy, Stan Banks from T-Shirt Size here with Tamika and Heather from the Drunk Aunties. Peace.
Bye.